Academy show. My name is Roland, and I have my brother Rod with us this morning. Um, Welcome to Ask the Experts. We are answering your questions on today. Please make sure you drop your questions in the chat. Let us know how we can help you. We are here to serve. And listen, we're going to have a phenomenal show. As we have been all week, we've had some great topics that we've been speaking on, and we want to make sure that we address your needs. So make sure you drop your questions in the chat. And listen, before we do anything, we want you to like, share, and subscribe. Let everyone know where we are, who we are, what we're doing to serve the kingdom, to serve marriages, to serve you as individuals. So like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you get those questions in on today. How you feeling this morning, Rod?
Oh, Roland, I'm feeling great. It's Friday, which Friday is just another beautiful day that the Lord has given us. So we are excited.
Absolutely. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Man, I see you have all your Foundry gear on, and I know that we have Foundry coming up for the men. It's actually in a couple of weeks. It begins on May 3rd. And for any man that's interested in finding the best version of yourself, I encourage you to join Foundry. It is a game changer. It is life-changing for yourself, for your marriage. You become a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better uncle, all around totality of a man you become. And so I would encourage all men to join Foundry because it is absolutely amazing. How you feel about that, Rod?
Well, like you said, I'm representing the Foundry brothers. Going strong. No, it's Foundry Friday.
Foundry Friday. Okay, I can go with that. Foundry Friday. I like that. Hey man, well, it looks good. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be your brother in Foundry. I'm glad to be considered your friend. And it's just been an amazing journey thus far. And I'm looking so much forward to everything that's to come. So yeah, we're gonna call this Foundry Friday. Hey, listen, we're gonna go to a quick commercial. When we come back, we're going to be answering your questions, so please drop your questions in the chat so we can help you.
If you're a man and you have a pulse, then you need to join this program. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a leader. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have to be everything for everyone, but do you know who and how to be for you? You're still in search of your own significance. You're in internal battle with your own vices. You're questioning, do I even know what it means to be a man? I know I'm supposed to be there for others, but what about me? The fact is, you need a model. You need a code to live by, a system of principles to govern your life. You need an internal compass to guide your every decision. You need the 4 securities to build your own kingdom. What you need is the Foundry. In short, a foundry is a facility where castings are produced by melting metal, pouring liquid metal into a mold, and then allowing it to solidify. Well, this is where we're testing the metal of men. Foundry is a 12-week men's-only coaching program. It is a brotherhood that will take each man through a purification process of the heart, mind, and soul. We here at Couples Academy promise you that if you give us 12 weeks of your life, you will no longer recognize it. If you care about the improving of your life, your marriage, and your family, register today.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. You're watching the Couples Academy show with Roland and Rod, R&R, on this Foundry Friday. Hey, listen, we are talking about Ask the Experts, and we don't have any questions in right now, but we do have a few things that we want to talk about. We've been talking about like men during this week. We've been talking about cheating in the workplace. We've been talking about the effects that cheating has on our families and our spouses. And, just being honest about it, men, we are the leaders of our family. We are the temperature setters for our family. And so oftentimes whether it be we don't understand our role, whether we don't want to take responsibility for our role, whether we don't even know what the role is supposed to be, like what it looks like, because we did not have a model of what manhood should be, integral man should be. We had examples of men, but to be integral is on a whole nother level. And so we've been doing life, and we've kind of been going through life and by trial and error. If I get it right, if I hit or miss, we're just going to kind of go through it. But we are in a space and time now where we don't have excuses to not be the men that we're supposed to be. We operate in a place where we have integral men, and the old folks say birds of a feather flock together. So if you're hanging around guys that's not going anywhere, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going anywhere. But when you begin to hang around men of integrity, men of purpose, men of moral values that are going somewhere, then you find yourself going in a upward direction of motion and being better as a man in your home, in your community, and abroad.
Hey, Roland, I'm glad you brought that up because that reminds me of the law of attraction. The law of attraction says whatever we put out, we're going to attract back to us. We put out negativity, we put out mess and nonsense, we put out drama. That's what we're going to attract to our life. And then we're looking around wondering where it came from. If we put out positivity, if we put out integrity, if we put out good vibes, then that's what comes back to us. And that's not just a nice cliche. That's just not a nice saying, a nice feel good. That's facts. Whatever we think about, whatever we put out, law of attraction, we will attract that same thing. And that goes to the point you're making. If we hanging around the wrong crowd or we have the wrong influences, first, let's look internally and see what our thinking, what our lifestyle, what we are projecting. Because what we project is what we receive. And so if you're wondering how you got into this drama, if you're wondering how you got into this mess, if everything is disarray and disembobulated around you, start internally and think about what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on, and that will give you your answers, but that will also give you your resolution as well.
Absolutely, man. You hit it on the head. Listen, I want to shout out those that are sharing with us this morning. Bashan from Chicago. We have Saved One, Gonzalez and Jewel. We have Kenny Burkett. We have Daryl Garner. We have Darnell Thompson. We have Natural Beauty from Louisiana. SU.
In the house.
SSSSSSU. Hey, listen, we're glad that you all are watching and sharing with us this morning. I did have a couple questions come in, Rod. I'm going to shoot this one to you. It says, I feel like I am doing marriage alone. How can I get my spouse to help? D-Day was 6 months ago.
Wow, that's a good one. The alone feeling in itself drums up a lot of questions. Is it a physical feeling of alone? Is it an emotional feeling of alone? Is it separation even when you guys are in the same room together? So just a few questions there. I mean, that comes to mind there. But let's say it's an emotional sense of loneliness because there's no communication or there's no intellectual intimacy. which if there's no intellectual intimacy, there's probably no physical intimacy. So that loneliness, we must start communicating. We must figure out the spouse that's not communicating or that's isolating themselves. The stronger spouse must reach out to them, try to initiate a conversation. You know your spouse. Without a doubt, you know what buttons to push. You know what turns them on, turns them off, gets them going, slows them down. And so it may take trial and error. You may have to try different approaches, different attempts. And when I say you, I mean the person that wrote that letter that's asking or feeling like they're in the marriage alone. They may have to be the initiator if their spouse is not a willing participant. Because in the marriage is a team. It doesn't matter. We're not keeping score. We're not checking the boxes and say, well, okay, I did this, they didn't do that. It's for the marriage. Mm-hmm. So if I am the one that's engaged right now and willing to do all the work and willing to move the marriage forward, then it's okay for me to be the initiator and be the person that keeps things going until my spouse wakes up or decides to be a part of or get in the game. I would say that from an athletic perspective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one of the things, anytime that there's been betrayal or an affair or anything to jeopardize the marriage or the relationship, you do have this alone feeling. But one of the things that we have to consider is the fact that if we are together and we're on the same team, what is it that we want? What if we want to win, we both have to do the work to win. And it cannot be a one party type of dimension when we're talking about doing life together. And so oftentimes one person is doing more than the other one. The one person is carrying both of them, and the weight begins to be heavy unnecessarily. And so we have to find ways to make sure that we are both carrying an equal amount of weight. And when I say equal amount, it's not always 50-50. Sometimes it is 60-40. Sometimes it is 80-10, 80-20. But we have to be willing to make sure that we are carrying whatever weight we've been assigned to during a particular time. So, to get your spouse to get in the game, as Rod say, we have to have a conversation as to what it is that we want, what direction we want to move in, and what ultimately do we want our relationship to look like. So I hope that helped. We have another question that came in from Kenny Burkett. He said, can you guys give some insight to the parallel women's program compared to FOUNDRY? Well, absolutely. So again, we not just look at the marital side of components. We also look at the individual components. We say all the time, our marital restoration starts with our personal transformation. And so men, we go through a comprehensive 12-week program that will specialize in the needs of man and how to be a better man. We go through 4 securities that will give us insight to carry ourselves, to carry our families, and to be effective in our communities. Likewise, the Women's Unearthed program is detailed for women, for them to become the better versions of themselves, the virtue of who they are, and give them the 12 weeks that they need and have a support system. See, the biggest thing is, like some of us, Rod, I know that you're in the fraternity. Some of us are not in fraternities, but we found a community, a brotherhood or a sisterhood that we can have the support and we can do life in a much better way because we have the support and needs of the sisters or the brothers, respectfully, in whichever group that we're in. So I hope that I answered for you.
Can I add on to that, Roland, real quick?
Absolutely. Because
I love the question. And it goes back to here at Couples Academy. Our philosophy is a three-pronged attack. You have the marriage recovery, you have the infidelity recovery, and then you have the individual recovery. And that's where FOUNDRY and Unearthed plays a role in that individual recovery. Because many times, whether you are the betrayer or the betrayed, your needs towards recovery may be different, especially between the two sexes. And that's why the programs are designed for those individual solutions. So like you pointed out, the Foundry is designed for men needs, men focus, men responsibilities. The women's program, the Unearthed, is created for the women's needs, the women's focus. So it's not a mirror program per se. It's the same. It's not the same agenda. It's not the same curriculum. It's not the same outline. But the goals of recovery and Unearthed being the best woman version that you can be for women, and the Foundry being the best man version that you can be for men. So I'm glad that question came up, Roland.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Kenny. And we need to see you in the Foundry. So I'll be looking for you to reach out along with any other man that wants to take advantage of this opportunity, or female that wants to take advantage of Unearthed. Please reach out, call us. You still have time to get in, and we'll look forward to seeing you. We have a question that came in from Natural Beauty from Louisiana. Why do men in the manosphere believe that monogamy isn't normal and keep referring to King Solomon? They overskip the part that he lost God's favor because of those many wives and concubines. Listen, social media is messing people up. Okay, social media and the limelight of what people want to do and stuff like that. Listen, we are living in a different time, and no one can refer to King Solomon, Brother David, or anything, because we're not living in the same era. We understand that God created marriages for man to have one wife, that one wife to one man. And he says it clearly that, man and woman are to cleave to one another. That's it. He didn't say man cleave to many women, women cleave to many men. And we have to understand where we are in 2023. Now, listen, the world is going to take care of their own. They're going to introduce things that are not godly. They're going to make things look pleasing and make you feel like what you have is not enough, or what you have is boring, or what you have is not worth anything. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, we have to make sure we are doing what we know to be right, because there is a day called Judgment Day that we all have to answer for the deeds that we do. So while, yes, men now, they want to have, more than one wife and all of this other kind of stuff, that is not in alignment to what God has for us and what he designed for us to do. Now, we have strayed away, we have made mistakes, we have done wrong, we have gone in the wrong direction. Now it's time to course correct, because when you know better, you do better. And at this point in the game, we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Water your own grass to make sure that you get in what you need, to make sure that your wife is being nurtured, that your family is being taken care of. It is too exhausting to be all over the place. It is too exhausting. It costs too much to be running around trying to take care of this one and that one, or have them take care of you. It's not going to fare out well.
Roland, I like this question. And here's why I like it. Because it reminds me of a quote I heard. There's a fine line between a genius and an idiot. And it reminded me that because there's so much information in the world, there's so much information, and people can use it and manipulate it to justify anything that they do. If this is like the person said, references King Solomon, reference the Bible. So they're going to use the Bible to justify their misbehavior. They're going to use the word in the wrong way to make them feel better and to make it right what's wrong, like you absolutely said. So truth is the truth. There is no false, or there is no lie in the truth. But the way people use the truth and try to manipulate the situation is what causes the problems. Another scripture that I'm surprised it hasn't popped up. The whole "I'm the man that you got, so you got to listen to me," wife. So again, scriptures can be manipulated. I truly believe that it is the word of God, but wisdom and interpretation comes from tapping into the Spirit of God and not just being a religious or religion follower.
Absolutely. The bottom line is, don't be that guy.
Yes.
Don't be that guy. I see you, Ivan. Please don't be that guy. Okay. and I personally know what that guy is and what he looks like. And trust me, you don't want to be that guy. Okay. So when we looking at this, and as you said, Solomon, he did lose a lot of favor with God. I want to get everything that God has for me in this lifetime. And dibbling and dabbling, rubbernecking and liquor-hooing, shucking and jiving, outside of the will of God, it will not serve me or my family well. And men really need to understand that. Women need to understand that. Because the ties, we understand, have changed. So let's just do the right thing. Listen, you're watching the Couples Academy show, Ask the Experts. We're going to go to a quick commercial. We will be right back. Continue to drop in your questions so that we can answer them and serve you.
Hey family, Hassani and Danielle here, and I want to tell you about the Phoenix Awards Gala happening on October 7th, 2023. Couples Academy is hosting its first annual Phoenix Awards Gala, a celebration of perseverance, patience, and persistence, focused on couples who have endured and overcome significant hardships in their marriages.
Nominees of this prestigious award will have come to the brink of destruction in their marriage without giving up, and are living a testimony to what is possible when two stand as one.
This is no ordinary gala. We are honoring 5 of the most resilient couples across the U.S. and abroad. And here's the most exciting part. You get to pick our nominees. And there's more. Wear your most exquisite gowns and black tie ensembles and prepare for a 50-foot red carpet, cocktail reception, dinner, live music, and dancing. We're going to raise the roof and the standard for marriages on October 7th, and we want you to be there.
For tickets, go to couplesacademy.org/events.
Welcome back. You're watching the Couples Academy show, Ask the Experts. If you're just joining with us, we have deemed this as Foundry, the Foundry Friday, and we've been having some great conversation and dialogue with some of the questions that have come in. I got another question that came in, Rod, and it says, my wife had an affair with our neighbor. The neighbor has since moved, but I hate seeing that house. I am triggered every day. I thought after some time this would go away. Will this anger ever end?
Short answer is yes. It will end or it will lessen if you want it to end or lessen. One thing about triggers, triggers have to be addressed head on. And when you're talking about something like a home, a restaurant, a street, something that is not going to be moved by itself, then the best way to address is to step into that uncomfortable feeling. As we often say here, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, talk it through, take the power away from the trigger, the focus of the trigger, because you're not upset at the house. You're upset by what is triggered inside of you emotionally, which results to a feeling that you get from looking at the house, because it brings back a memory that is unpleasant that you trying to forget. So coming up with understanding the trigger, facing it, not running from it, and then working with your spouse to come up with a plan to take the power and control away from that house and away from triggering you.
And listen, sometimes we have to make drastic changes. The bottom line and the fact of the matter is, anytime we step outside of the covenant marriage, there are consequences. And those consequences, we don't know what they are. And so you're playing Russian roulette every time you step outside of the marriage. And when your spouse finds out, when your spouse is affected and your family is affected by it, you don't know what that looks like. So here it is, your spouse had an affair with the neighbor, and the neighbor has moved, but the house is still there. We have to make some adjustments. Maybe it's time for us to move as well. We have to be willing to go the extreme and radically make the necessary adjustments. And here is the fact. Here is the reality. Your spouse had an affair with the neighbor. The neighbor has since moved, but the effects of the infidelity is still affecting you. And that's the consequence that we have to deal with. That person is gone. They have moved on. And yet we are still having to deal with the remnants of that indiscretion. So we have to be able to do some things outside of the norm, because we did something outside of the norm. I have another question. Kimberly Williams said, what about the trigger being the person your partner had an affair with? She goes on to say, the police told me to change my number because she is harassing me without any consequences for her. She and all her friends are harassing me daily. How do I deal with those triggers? Right, what you got for that?
Hey, that's a big one, without a doubt. With let me default to just the triggers first.
Okay.
Because a trigger can be anything. In this case, the other question, it was a house. This question, it's the affair partner and her friends. As far as dealing with that, that's a tough one, because you're trying to stay away from it. You're trying to isolate and move on, and the affair partner continues to bring you back in. And hear me in your spirit, because we're not here to try to make it seem like it's so easy, like flipping a switch and things are going to change. So I apologize if it's coming off that way. But it does start with a decision. It does start with taking your power back. Changing the number, I think, is a good suggestion. You don't want to change your lifestyle or let somebody dictate your lifestyle. So you do have a couple of choices. You have to make up in your mind, if you're not going to move, if you can't avoid the affair partner or her friends, you have to make up in your mind, well, what am I going to do when this happens? Obviously, if she's calling you, you can, block the call or avoid the call. If you're in person and she approaches you, that's something totally different. You do have some legal ramifications there, some options there. But you have to figure out, what is my plan, and prepare and plan ahead of time of things. If this happened, then this is how I'm going to respond. If that happened, then this is my course of action. And I know it sounds like, why should I have to change? It was my spouse that was the one that cheated. I don't deserve this. I'm not to blame. I didn't do anything. But it's your life. If you made the decision to work it out and recover with your husband, work has to be done, and it's not going to be easy.
You're absolutely right, and you know the fact of the matter is it's going to be some heavy lifting that needs to be done on both parties. And honestly, the betrayer is going to have to lift a little heavier because they're the one that caused all of this. Now, here's the reality: we may have to take more legal actions and get a restraining order, or more legal actions of like Rod says, blocking the person if you know their number. And if they are in person harassing you, we have to come up with a game plan. We have to have an idea of how are we going to handle this situation and how are we going to navigate through this in this life. And it looks like you said this has been 2 years. 2 years. Here again, because we stepped outside of what we know to be right, we do not know, Crazy Sally or Crazy Joe that we're dealing with and how they're going to react to, it being cut off or it being dismantled. They want what you have, right? And we have to make sure how the consequence of the things that we do. That's the bottom line. And now we have to work through it as a team to figure out what's the best course of action. Do we need to move from out of this area? Do we need to, move from this house? And sometimes these things are not readily available to you to do, but we have to come up with a plan and we have to have an idea of what that looks like. So listen, I hope that we've answered your questions effectively. You're watching the Couples Academy show, Ask the Experts. Please, 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 I encourage you, I highly suggest and recommend, I command you to give us a call. Let us help you navigate through your situation. Each situation is different, but they all are able to be fixed and rectified. And we are here to help you. Also, please go get your ticket for the gala. I'm telling you, you're going to get tired of hearing me say it. You want to get your ticket for the gala October 7th, 2023, our first annual Phoenix Awards Gala. You want to be a part of history. You want to be a part of this amazing event. Get your ticket. They're on sale. Make sure you get your reservations for your hotel. Let's make it a date night. Let's make it like a awesome date night, an awesome date night weekend. Let's just do it up. We're going to have an amazing time, and we look forward to seeing you. Have a great weekend. We love you all, and we'll see you back here on Monday.